caught husband with my best friend. I 38 female and husband 40 male have been together since I was 20 and he was 22. We have one child together who is 17 male. I have known my best friend 38 female since we were 11. For this post we will call bestie Sarah and hubby Joe. Sarah and I do not get to see each other in the way that we used to, as about 6 years ago, she moved to a different province. She is roughly 3 hours away. We text bi-daily at the least, and usually video chat 2 times a week with a glass of wine and weekly recaps. Suffice to say we're still very close despite the distance life has dealt us. Now Joe travels a lot for work, and it's not uncommon for him to be gone for a week at a time here and there. He usually leaves on a Saturday or a Sunday and checks into his hotel so he is fresh-faced on Monday. Always home on weekends. On this particular Wednesday, he said he was going to leave that Friday instead, as he had some prep work to do prior to Monday and just wanted to allot himself enough time to do so without stressing last minute. I didn't think much of it and told him it makes sense. I looked forward to having the house to myself for the weekend as my son was going to his best friends to game for the weekend as they often do. Friday rolls around, and my boy comes home from school, packs his things and heads out. All is good there. Joe's flight was at 8:40 p.m. so we still got to enjoy dinner together before he left for the airport. He kisses me then leaves. House is quiet, too quiet. I get some tidying done, have a relaxing bath, and tuck in with some Netflix. Life's good. I wake up Saturday and tackle the day with some Christmas shopping and lunch. I arrive back home around 1 p.m. and get a load of laundry done. This brings me to about 3 p.m. It sounds silly, but as much as I was looking forward to being alone all weekend, I was bored and over it by this point, so I figured, hey, I'm gonna grab a bottle of wine and call Sarah up later for some girl time to help my evening go by a lot faster. In the same breath I realized, heck it, I have nobody to cook for or cater to tonight. I am gonna surprise her in person with a bottle of wine. Into the car I go. I arrive in her area at around 7 p.m., all giddy and pumped up. I know she is going to be absolutely stunned and excited when she opens the door. Let the squeals ensue. Well, as I rounded the corner onto her block, I am the one who is stunned. There is another car there. My husband's car's make and model. My heart drops, but I tell myself there is just no way, and I actually feel guilty and silly for thinking it could be him. It is a common vehicle after all. As I pull up to the house, I can see now it is his car. I am sick. Beyond sick. I can't describe the sinking feeling I felt, as I can honestly say it's the first time I've ever had that feeling. I kept trying to justify an innocent reason for this and I came up empty-handed. Anger sets in. I walk up to the door and begin pounding in the way I imagine the police would do in dire urgency. I hear Sarah's footsteps approaching and a confused tone in her voice as I hear her say, "I really don't know, I'm not expecting anybody." Our eyes meet as she peeks through the little decorative diamond-shaped glass of her front door. As she says, as she heel spins to walk away but back again. I tell her to open the goddarn door. At this point my husband has heard me through the front door and I hear him groan and say something along the lines of, "This can't be real. Did you tell her to come here? How did she know?" etc. She opens the door, and he acts as if I didn't just hear their exchange of words on the other side of the door. I demand to know WTF this is. She is completely stunned and stands back with her hand over her mouth as he fumbles his words and tells me he stopped there before leaving for his trip to plan a surprise New Year's party for me with Sarah. As if. I quickly tell him that's absolutely not true, and such thing can also be correlated by any other source of communication that does not include spending the night with my best friend. I look past them to see what looks to be the aftermath of a romantic dinner for two on her dining room table and a cozy blanket on her couch with 2 glasses on the coffee table. I am in tears at this point. He has the nerve to then accuse me of having looked through his messages and being the sneaky one. I am baffled. I tell him to get his crap and get out of there. He refuses, citing he still has to leave for his work trip the following day. I tell him absolutely not. Get your things and we are getting a room for the night to discuss this. He reluctantly agrees. He asks me to wait in the car for him, which I say no to. I begin to yell at Sarah as he scampers around collecting his whatnots. She is apologetic but tells me she hopes this is just a bump in our friendship and we can work past this. What an absolute joke. This is not a bump but an entire mountain that has been placed on and crushed any remnants of our friendship. Fast forward to finally getting to a hotel with space. Husband confesses as if I needed a confession to having been with her a few times in the past, but maintaining a long-distance relationship with Sarah for the past 4 years. 4 years. I am absolutely breathless. He subsequently cancels his work trip and ends up coming back home, where we spend most of the next day arguing before our son comes home that evening. We keep it hush around him, but he can definitely tell we are on the outs. This brings us to now, the following Friday. We have spent all week arguing, talking, crying, and just trying to figure out where to go from here. We always had a loving relationship. He says he just got bored but has developed deep feelings for Sarah and vice versa. He begs for forgiveness daily and has made a point to cut ties with Sarah to try and save our marriage, but my trust is non-existent and my hurt-o-meter is red-lined. I've been too ashamed to share this information with other friends, especially friends Sarah and I have in common. Edit. Thank you all so much for your kind words, support and advice. With work and home being so chaotic, I'm unable to respond to each comment but would like to answer some questions I've been asked and update. A few have asked how his car was there if he took a plane. He had not taken his plane yet. Sarah's home is actually closer to the airport than our home, which is why he insisted it made more sense to stay there still until the following day. I told my parents today. They're the only ones so far. They're the old school yet supportive type and believe if I want to forgive him they understand. But if not they support that too and will be there. I have absolutely decided I will be leaving him. No, it hasn't been discussed with our son yet. I have no reason to maintain a relationship with Sarah and in some strange way am more hurt and shocked with her than I am with him. Story 2, I am starting to actually hate my husband. First off, my husband 31 male and I 30 female are in a bad place and he decides to volunteer himself to give car rides and invite some random work friend to a gathering all of a sudden. My husband and I have been together for 10 years and married for 6 years. He is a major in the Air Force and has told me that he has no desire or motivation to work on our marriage. I've had this feeling for a while but he's now admitting to me that he doesn't care to consider my feelings with the choices he decides to make, and is unaffected with how it makes me feel. He doesn't care and only cares about himself and what others think of him. We are in counseling and he's even told the counselor this. She asks him if he could but he's told her what he's told me. He has no desire to change or make himself better, but the last session she gave us homework to set goals for ourselves and actually put in the effort. He said that he would try and I was committed to trying as well. Now fast forward to this week. He texts me from work asking if he can invite someone to my friend's game night we're going to, which was tonight. We also live in Korea and have 2 years left to go. I said who and he replied with a woman's name I've never heard him mention before. I didn't ask any questions and just did what he asked. Now today he's told me, yeah, her car broke down so I gave her a ride back home and will give her rides to work until her car is fixed. Okay, I'm thinking who is this woman and why for the last 2 days are you so invested in her car troubles and inviting her to game nights with our friends? He's never done anything like this before, so why now and why her? I asked if she asked him for rides and he said he offered. I meet her, she was fine, but he almost pushed me out the way to get to my friend's door when he heard knocking. The night was okay after that minus a couple minor things like him going out of his way to reach on the long opposite side of the table where she was to discard a card he could have discarded next to him. I confronted him that it was very strange of him to do all of this so sudden, especially since he's the type that doesn't like to make friends and mingle after work. He's told me that he doesn't give a f about her, but to me it's just odd. At this point I'm at a loss. I don't have a lot of money because we've moved 5 times in the 6 years we've been married, so coming by a job is difficult. I wish I had my own money so I could get out. From the comments, I think you're looking at 2 different issues which you've connected because you're hurt about the first issue. I believe but cannot confirm that the second issue with this coworker may be nothing at this very moment. Nothing I ever hear surprises me, so again, cannot confirm. But why would he bring her into your social group and letting you and possibly your other friends meet her and potentially grill her if he's trying to cheat? Surely someone will say to slowly teach you to let your guard down, which is indeed a possibility, but RN I don't think so. But even beyond that, let's address your first part, because if that's gonna keep going on then everything he does will get connected. You've gone to therapy and he outright refuses to change. You could leave him just off that alone. Set your boundaries and if they're crossed it's time to go. OP, I thought about that too. Why would he bring her around or mention her? But we just met these friends 2 months ago so they don't know everything. I talked to my friend who had the party and she thought that I already knew her. She said she thought it was weird initially that there was a lot of commotion when the doorbell rang and that he wanted to answer the door. He's also never done anything like this. He's never went out of his way to make a friend or offer them rides or try to make a relationship with them before, so I'm also weary of that.